Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another tutorial following up on my last tutorial about the mood chips and their functions. I'm going to be following up with a Cv2 Mood Chips tutorial because I would like to convert everybody to Cv2. I know a lot of people still use Cv1 because it's nice and simple. We want to break away from simplicity to make it more customizable, make you a better builder. Originally this was one video with the functions and the circuits in one, but then the video ended up being 25 minutes long. I really don't want to have to put anybody through that. So I'm splitting it up into two different videos, and this is going to be the part about Cv2, and it'll tie in with my last video pretty closely. So if you haven't watched that already, I'll put a link in the description if you want to go watch that. It should also be really close on my channel, be the last video I posted. I'd recommend you understand the functions if you don't already, but if you are already here from the prior video, hi, Cv2 Mood Chips, let's do it. First up the bat is our background objects chip. I'm not going to explain what they do again. We've already gone over that. But now it's just the same chip. Let's split up into three. This is your constant. This is going to be what you use to configure and edit what it actually looks like. This is going to be modified. This will apply different ones. And if you want to disable and enable it, it's going to be with the modify, if you can know what modify means. And the reset over here, which gets rid of it. We're going to explain some simple circuit logic here. If we go to our connect tool, which is right next to the configure and select tools, we have the rec room object reset on the left, modify in the middle, and constant on the right. Actually going to rearrange this. I had to flip it so I could show the camera. The constant is on the left. If you want to edit it, you can go to your connect tool, go to configure tool, and it'll be the exact same thing as the other one you saw. It's just in this menu now. And you can also change the name of the chip. How this is going to wire in, you go to configure, or you go to connect, you're going to see background objects content. You're just going to throw it into here to your modify. The modify is going to change it, so when it gets a signal right here, it's going to change the background objects to whatever the constant was. So if you see here, if I go to here, and I try to play this, nothing's going to happen because there's no constant that it can change or modify. But if I go to right here, and I change the constant here, then I play it, it's going to change to the to what we defined as the constant here. You could just connect a button to this if you have it work like that, or we could use event receivers like I'm going to explain at the end. Next we have our reset button. All of the mood chips have a reset button. I'm only going to explain it on this one because it makes the most sense. But our room objects reset, you do not need to connect it to anything. This chip itself can detect what your currently applied box is. So all I need to do is send a signal into here for it to reset to the default. So I'm going to go to connect. I'm going to play the modified chip, and you'll see it goes completely back to normal in here. That's because we've already defined it. We already have a current skybox. It doesn't need a chip to define what the reset's going to do. It's just going to reset the current skybox that's applied already. Alright, so you want a skybox that's going to apply the second you get into a room, and again, this is going to work for every single thing. I recommend you wire these in a big circuit and you throw an event receiver at the beginning. I love the event receiver. It's my favorite thing in the game. We're going to go to our maker pens. You're going to look up event receiver. Do not get the definition or the sender, get the receiver. It's going to look like this, event receiver. You're going to go to configure on your maker pen, right under tools, and you're going to go to configure. It's a little purple one. Click on the event receiver. Click on the event, scroll all the way down, and you're going to have room loaded. This means that when the room is loaded for the first time and the room is booted up and started for one person, it's going to trigger the room loaded chip. It's not player joined, so it's not going to keep triggering. It's only going to do the second the room starts, and it will not ever happen again. If we're only going to have one skybox applying, we're going to use room loaded, which is going to be for our purposes here. So if I wire our special event room loaded into modify, this means that now when the room is loaded or when the room started, if the first person joins, then that room is going to be modified. And of course, when this happens, this is going to be the event. Say I join, that's going to play, and now we have the funny background objects. So everything we just did there can be applied to the sky dome and the fog chips. The sun chip's a little bit different, so I'll explain that separately. But just know that every single thing you can use will be applied with a constant, a modify, and a reset. reset just by sending the signal will reset the current skydome, fog chip, or background object chip. The modify will be required to have a constant wired to it, just like this, and this to here. And then this event will need to be triggered to start your current constant that's wired into it. This is the same for fog, skydome, and background objects. That's why I'm not going to explain all of them, but I've explained the first one, so you can apply it to these as well. Alright, Caddy, what's so different with the sun chip that you need to talk about it separately? You'll see that I have an extra chip here. This chip has an extra node right there, and I have this funny little shape right here. What does it all mean? Well, the sun chip has a special thing in it that you can actually move it around with your hand. This is going to be what defines the direction that the sun is pointing in. As you saw with the other original chip, you would just point it in the direction you want, then edit it that way. That's barbaric, and we don't like that. So we have our own separate chip that defines the direction just by pointing it in that direction. So that's going to be our sun direction here, and you just got to wire that with the constant. Just an extra step, but it makes it a lot easier than, you know, if we were to point just some random circuit board and then make it a little confusing to look at. How we're going to wire this if we want it to work, we're going to go to connect, go to sun direction, make sure it's wired direction to direction, constant to constant, and modify just as the same before. When I press modify, it's going to modify to the most recent press. I'm going to go to here, modify, and, you know, it's going to be extremely deceiving, but if I point it straight, you know, arrow pointing this way, you'd think that the sun would go where the arrow is. It actually goes to the butt of the arrow, which is on this side. Oh, wait. I know, record, hilarious. But just know that it's going to go to the butt of the arrow, so if you can't see your sun when you're pointing in the direction, you're not pointing in the right direction. And the same for the sun reset. When you press this with this event here, it's just going to reset the event. Okay, to recap, we have our constant, our modify, and our reset. Constant is going to be what you edit to change what the color is. It's just going to be like editing the regular chip and then changing the colors, you know, the look of it, whatever. That's all going to be in the constant. Modify is going to be what actually changes the skydome to whatever you want it to be, the fog to whatever you want it to be, the sun to whatever you want it to be. The modify is going to be what defines when it changes, and you're just going to need to send that circuit signal in there. Again, if you need to go back and watch it, please do that. I want you to understand this. And the reset does not need to be a part of the circuit. You can just press the button if you want to attach it to a button. As long as the circuit signal gets sent through, it's going to reset, causing it to, you know, remove whatever the skybox or the skydome or fog, whatever it was. I forgot to mention that directly below all the mood settings, you'll see roll filter enabled. You can turn that on the same way that I have for my welcome mat tutorial in there, where it'll only be activated for certain roles. Change that if you want to. I'm sure you guys know enough about circuits if you watched any of my videos for you to be able to do that yourself. But if not, you can go and look at the welcome mat tutorial at the end. I show a little bit about how roll filter works. And those were our Cv2 Mood Chips. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys understood that. I know it's kind of hard to explain Cv2 circuit logic to people. I try to break it down the best I can, but again, if you have any questions or you don't understand it fully, let me know down in the question, or let me know down in the comments below. I will answer every single question that comes to me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.